I try to let them know that there's hope in the room and that we know how you feel. Because I think after a meeting, especially for a new person, even if I know there's a new person in the room, sometimes I have a hard time not talking AA talk. And so, I try to just be a real human and say, welcome, come back. There's hope here.
I heard it through the grapevine. Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine half-hour variety hour, featuring the collective voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Don. I'm an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Hey everybody, I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
Hiya, Sam.
Hey, Mr. Don.
3 weeks in a row, the new coffee person at my home group made caffeinated coffee, no decaf coffee. We meet at 7:30 at night. My cutoff time is 6 o'clock for coffee. So, but I love decaf coffee. And for 3 years, well, during COVID, we only had one kind of coffee. We made decaf coffee because that's what we made every week.
You know why people don't like decaf, right?
No.
Because it's made from the dirt that the coffee beans grow in.
That's the internet rumor. So I've threatened to quit the home group and start my own meeting. That's going to be called the Big Book Decaf Coffee.
Oh, Don.
Because there's a meeting in Greensboro called Big Book No Smoke.
Yep. I used to go there.
So I think there should be a Big Book Decaf. I think we should sort ourselves by our beverages.
What, then Big Book Half Calf?
We could have Big Book Half Calf.
Big Book Non-Fat Creamer. Big Book Earl Grey Tea.
Big Book Tea, yes, definitely. Big Book Tea meeting. There could be Big Book Soda.
Yeah, because we don't want to name anything after a brand.
Well, unfortunately, there is a meeting named after a brand.
Yeah, we also don't name meetings after people.
Which is why I'm not going to start a meeting called Big Book Sam.
I think we need As Don Sees It. Oh my God, your head just got even bigger.
Sam, who's our guest today?
I don't know. I think she stuck around. Today's guest is Tammy Z in Spruce Pine, North Carolina.
Great. And we're going to have listener feedback called in via 212-870-3418. And afterwards, we'll play our segment, Language of the Heart. But first,
the news!
The Grapevine and Lavinia apps on both iOS and Android are now available in most parts of the world, including Mexico, Central America, South America, Asia, Australia, Africa, and the European Union.
Your subscriptions to Grapevine and Lavinia through the apps help keep the Grapevine podcast growing and reaching more AA members around the globe.
Shout out to all you new listeners, and a special thanks to everyone who subscribes.
Hey, Don, have you ever wished there was a current book on the steps?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there is. Our 12 Steps is a brand new collection of stories from AA members about working the program's 12 Steps of Recovery. Each chapter illuminates a different step through the experiences of a wide variety of AA members.
This volume features all new, up-to-date stories from the pages of the Grapevine, the International Journal of Alcoholics Anonymous. This volume features all new, up-to-date stories from the pages of the Grapevine, the International Journal of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's great for sponsees and for step meetings. It's $13.99. Order online at aagrapevine.org/books.
My name is Tammy, and I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is December 10th, 1995. I have a home group. My home group is the 12 and 12 study. We meet in Asheville, North Carolina on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And not surprisingly, what we do at the 12 and 12 study is study the 12 and 12. I know, shocking, right?
I figured it was bingo or something.
What beverages do you have?
None, I know.
Oh, it's a
I know.
BYOB.
It is, it is. We're a small group, so
Uh,
BYOB or just tough it out for the hour if you didn't BYOB, right? So I also have a sponsor and I have some sponsees, but my real love in Alcoholics Anonymous is service to Alcoholics Anonymous. And right now I have commitments to my home group periodically to open the door and make sure the group gets set up when it's my turn.
mm,
I'm the DCM of District 70, Area 51, North Carolina. I am the alternate chair for the local central office, the North Carolina Mountain Central office in Asheville, North Carolina. And my first and true love is to corrections. And I've had a commitment to corrections for a number of years. Right now, I have a commitment to take an AA meeting once a month into the Women's Prison in Swannanoa, North Carolina, the Western Correctional Center for Women. So I'm the third Wednesday, and we have an as-Bill sees it meeting at Western Correctional Center for Women on the third Wednesday.
Oh, that's
So
wow.
fantastic. You are busy.
I'm retired.
So, how busy was your life when alcohol became a part of it, though?
Probably not that busy. I was probably a late bloomer, according to today's standards. I often hear people talk about their drinking and, they got it out of the bottle or when they were 10 or, early. But I got introduced to alcohol probably in my teens and got drunk for the first time when I was probably 17.
Hmm.
And so seems late bloomer. So I was still in high school. And then after that, went to college and started experimenting with different college parties and things like that, and decided college wasn't for me. So I dropped out of college.
Did it kind of get in the way of the party?
College?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So I am a good student when I'm not drinking. So that first semester I went to college, I went from being a good student, graduating in the top 10% of my high school, to I think my GPA was a 2.6. I don't remember what it was, honestly, but it was not good because I was doing other things. I found the frat parties. And so I guess I got a little bit busy right around then.
Mm,
Got a little busy doing other things other than studying for college, and
yeah.
so I dropped out of college, and my heart wasn't in it. I didn't want to do that. I needed to go explore this other avenue, obviously, right?
how was drinking involved in all of your activities?
When I stopped drinking, I had an apartment that I was paid up on the rent. I had just bought a brand new car. I was, back in college part-time, focused a little bit more on that. And so I hadn't really lost all the things that I often hear that people have lost. But I do think it was a problem in different ways for me. I do think it was part of the reason that I didn't stay in college because I couldn't focus on it right then. I didn't want to focus on college. I wanted to go do this other thing. And so when I dropped out of college and went and started waitressing, well, there we go. Plenty of time, plenty of time to focus on what I want to focus on, which was, a little bit of drinking. But I don't know that I ever drank like a normal person. I think it always caused problems. Anytime I drank, it wasn't one, it wasn't a couple, it was to excess, to blackout, to pass out, to all of those things. And so I think it was causing problems with relationships, but
Hmm.
I had an easy solution for that. It's your fault.
So, what I'm hearing, anything that got in the way, you just kind of cast aside.
Everything needed to be molded around at the end.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
invisible to you? Because I did that and it was invisible to me.
Today, what I know beyond any shadow of a doubt is I had no concept of reality. I lived in a complete, self-delusion about what was really going on in my life. I had no idea.
How are you
Um,
living that way and not knowing it?
It's a really good question, right? Because now I've been sober 30 years. So when I look back, it's really easy to say, how could I not have
Mhm.
noticed
Hmm.
that there was a problem? Because when I look back at my alcoholism, where it took me was where alcohol doesn't take most people. I think one of the reasons I didn't notice is because I surrounded myself with people who drank like me.
Bingo.
And then I'm just one of them. I'm normal, right? We're
Exactly.
all we're all doing it and we're all acting crazy.
And for some reason, those people who didn't drink like me didn't manage to stick
I
around.
know, right? C'est la vie. Yep.
You did have a lot of perhaps sacrifices that were made to alcoholism over those years. Was there something that finally led to that, I've got to stop?
Well, there were a couple things that happened. One was a reason to stop drinking, and one was I should stop, and those didn't happen at the same time.
Mm,
So at the time, I was 23 years old, and the state of Texas got involved in my drinking. What happened is when I was 23, I had just bought a brand new car, and I liked to drink and drive. It was my favorite thing to do after drinking for a little while was to get in my car, your car, didn't matter. Give me the keys. We're driving, we're
mhm.
going somewhere. And unfortunately, what happened is on June 6, 1995, I got in my car after drinking and I caused a car accident where someone lost their life and three other people were injured in the car accident.
Mhm.
I got charged with some felony offenses in the state of Texas.
Mm.
And part of the eventual punishment was to go places where I couldn't drink and fulfill all the conditions of my probation, which made drinking very difficult. And also, early days of all of that happening, there was fear of the consequences, or there was fear of the additional consequences that could
Mm.
happen if I drank. And so the initial reason was the car accident, the felony convictions, the state of Texas saying you need to do X, Y, and Z, and all of these conditions. But what happened because of that is the fear kicked in because I was afraid of the next set of consequences if I drank. And I stayed just long enough to actually hear what the people in Alcoholics Anonymous were saying to come to a point where I said, I should be here and I should be doing
Ah.
this.
Ooh, you discovered it in the meetings.
Yes, I would say
What,
that's correct.
how long did that take, and what did it look like when it happened?
Sometimes it's hard to really pinpoint. And
Well,
this
yeah,
one, this one, I don't have an exact pinpoint. I mean, some things are very obvious. There are certain dates and things that happen, but this one I don't have an
certainly.
exact pinpoint. I know that as a condition of my probation, I had to go to a place called a safety, which in Texas is a substance abuse felony punishment facility. It is a prison where they offer you a little bit of treatment on the side. I was there between there and the outpatient, and the time before it was probably about a year where I was kind of prohibited or in an area where it wasn't readily available. After that, I started having to go to AA meetings, and I had all the reasons that I didn't belong, right? I was too
Of course.
young, I was too smart, I was too this, I was too that, I hadn't lost everything, as we were talking about, and all of those things. And I think what happened really is just having to sit in the meetings to get my paper signed to show my probation officer. I was never disruptive. I always liked the people in the meetings, not enough to come early or stay late, mind you. That was above and beyond that I didn't want to do yet, right? But
Yeah.
but I would listen. I would listen. And what happened is when I was around 5 years sober, the world that I had set up to maintain my sobriety was composed of people not in AA. And all of these human beings failed me at the same time. And I had a moment of crisis, a moment of desperation, a moment of, oh my goodness. And what I realized in that moment is this is what those people in AA have been talking about the whole time, that life is going to happen and that there is a solution, there is a program, there is a way to deal with life. And they've been giving me this all these years, and I finally understand what it means. And so that's when everything kind of changed for me.
That's when
So,
you surrendered.
That's probably a good way to put it. Yeah, I could go with that.
did you have a sponsor at the time?
I had a sponsor this whole time. I had a woman who was a friend of my stepmother's who had gotten sober. And while I was locked up, she started to write letters to me, and I started to write with her back and
Hmm.
forth. And so she was part of, introducing me to her alcoholism. And she was part of the AA community, sharing with me the experience, strength, and hope that eventually I would say, oh my, they are talking about me. I'm not different, right?
Mhm.
And so I did have a sponsor. But the thing is, she, I believe at the time, had like 7 years sober, and she no longer went to meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I thought, bingo, perfect. Like, who wants to do that forever, right?
Right.
And so I want what she has, like to eventually graduate, right? And so it was perfect. And honestly, she didn't make me do anything. I didn't want to do anything. I kept
Mhm.
in touch with her, but we really didn't we didn't have a rigorous plan of action, by any
Yeah.
stretch. And so after this incident happened, I got a new sponsor. I got a new sponsor who said, we're going to work the steps, we're going to work them in order, we're going to sit down and do this.
And so, what was the result of doing that?
Oh, what wasn't the result? It was the result, right? Like the result of these steps is having had a spiritual awakening, and that was the result, and everything changed. And it hasn't been sunshine and rainbows since, right? Because life is life, but
No.
but generally speaking, that was the turning point where everything changed. Life became different.
Did you work the steps the first time?
I worked through five, I believe, the first time.
So you got through to making an inventory and sharing it with a sponsor,
Correct.
but then you didn't go further than that.
No.
Was that personal inventory of all your behavior, people you've harmed, and all that, the fourth step and sharing it with a sponsor, was that different the second time?
I don't specifically remember. I do remember the first time though. And what I remember about the first time is aside from the horrible tragedy and the horrible harm that I did that I already told you about, there
Hmm.
was something on my fourth step that I would have sworn I would have never told another human being, right?
Mm.
But I had enough comfort, with this woman and enough trust in her that I was able to say that. And I remember her looking across the table at me and nodding her head and saying, I understand, I've done that too. And those are magical words for me.
Aren't
Yes.
they, though? They are
They
so
are.
incredibly. And, folks, if you'll stick around after the podcast, we'll share with you what that was.
Or we won't.
I don't know.
Lit-
Sometimes the imp Sam shows up. Sorry. Tammy, when did you start sponsoring people?
Oof. I did not start sponsoring people for a while. I don't exactly remember. My best guess is I had 8 or 10 or 12 years sober. And the reality is it took me a while to fully get in and get on board and have something somebody wanted, right? So it was probably when I was 8 or 10 years sober. I would say I probably got my first sponsee.
So you do this corrections work. Share a personal story of some place in the corrections work that you've done where you've been really moved or changed.
Ah, easy question. So in 2018, I was 22 years sober, and it was the 23-year anniversary of the tragic car accident where a woman died and three other people were injured.
Hmm.
It was the 23-year anniversary, and it was my night to take a meeting into the local women's prison. I was still in Texas at the time, but I had a Wednesday night commitment at that women's prison. And I went there with my writing buddy. And when we got there, I chaired the meeting and I talked about the promises. And I specifically talked about the promise we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. And we had a meeting. I told the women at that facility that it was June 6, 2018. It was the 23-year anniversary of this car accident, this tragedy that kind of started my entire path. And we had a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the women shared at the end of that meeting, we closed the meeting, and there was this young girl who came up to me. I never saw her at the meeting before that particular night, and I never saw her at the meeting again, but she was there that night, and she came up. I don't remember anything other than she was kind of short-ish, small. She had blonde curly hair. And she came up to me and she said, thank you for being here. I really needed to hear what you had to say. Now, those are very innocuous words, right? Just thank you for coming. Thank you for your share. But what I heard from her is something, it was the voice of God. Because for all those years up until then, on June 6th, every single anniversary, when I got home at the end of the day, no matter what I had done, I'd gone to a meeting, I'd worked with a sponsee, I'd done service, I had done something. And when I had come home at the end of the day on June 6th, every year on the anniversary, I always felt inadequate. I always felt like I hadn't done enough. I always felt like I was missing the mark, that there was something I was supposed to do, but I couldn't grab it and I couldn't catch it and I couldn't discern it. But on June 6, 2018, when that young girl said, thank you for coming, I heard the voice of God say, Tammy, you're doing enough. You're doing everything I want you to do. You're suiting up, you're showing up, you're keeping your commitments, you're carrying the message. Just keep doing that. I think I would have told you before then that I had understood forgiveness and I'd gotten some self-forgiveness, but I think that cinched the deal. That cinched the deal. So it was pretty profound for me.
That's so beautiful.
It is indeed. Wait, is that a phone ringing?
We're in this incredible conversation, and the phone rings.
Sam, can you get that? It's the listener feedback phone.
212-870-3418. Yeah, hang on, I'll get it.
Hello?
Hi, Eric S. from Santa Rosa, California. I was just listening to one of your episodes and with a question about why don't you use the plain language big book. Stump the Thumper quote the plain language big book page and chapter, which I think would be very difficult to do unless you'd read it thousands of times like you probably have, the big book. But I guess my question would just be reverse. Where in the plain language big book is pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization found? Where do they refer to that condition, which I believe represents the bottom for everybody? The bottom may be different for everybody, but usually it equates to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. And I'm very sorry they took it out. The other thing I had a question about was I hear that, how to support the podcast is by subscribing to the Grapevine, which I am not interested in doing at this time, but I would like to support the podcast. Is there a way to support it by a donation of some kind, a one-time donation? I appreciate any feedback you could give me. So anyway, interested to hear your comments. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Eric. First off, let me tell you that we're going to do a Stump the Thumpers plain language big book episode. It's going to be on the June 15th episode. So be sure to listen to that. It's going to be great fun. Yes, the language changes in the plain language big book, and thankfully we'll always have the big book as well. I love the line, pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. It describes my emotional state when I came into AA. Tammy, have you ever felt that pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization?
I think it's a prerequisite to call yourself an alcoholic, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, you have to have something. Definitely. They are incidences that I will not be sharing with you on this podcast. That was for my sponsor.
Yes.
But yes.
Stick around after the podcast.
Oh, here we go again.
We'll hear all those juicy force tidbits. They're full of pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization.
Yeah.
I want to provide a clarifying statement there, though. If you call yourself an alcoholic and you mean it, you have accepted it. Because there were so many times in my drinking days that I called myself an alcoholic, and I had no intention of stopping drinking, wanting to stop drinking. The consequences had not added up yet. I knew that I drank a lot, but so did all y'all, and that's perfectly fine. We're all alcoholics. Yeah. And yes, pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization did happen during that time. But, you just get up the next morning or afternoon and brush it off, right?
Yeah, there's different levels of surrender. And one is, for me, it was the first time I ever said I was an alcoholic was in my first AA meeting when they went around the room. I've really felt this relief when I said that because it was like I've said something that I've always known was true for years now. I knew it for about 4 years. But I love the fact that we say that all the time because each time it's a surrender. Each time it's me saying, I'm an alcoholic.
Well, the thing I love about that, too, is that all of you saying that makes it easier for me to say that when I first come in.
And it's a we program. Thanks for bringing that up. And the Carry the Message Project, you can't make a donation to the Grapevine, but we do have the Carry the Message Project.
We do indeed. And so I'm going to take you through a quick little step through on that on aagrapevine.org. At the very top of the site, click on Carry the Message. And then you will be taken to a page where you've got a link that says Learn about the ways to give here. Click on that, and that takes you to where you get instructions on buying a gift certificate or a carry the message gift certificate. That's option number 2. Now, the gift certificates can be given to someone that you know. That's option 1 on that previous page. Or option 2 is the Carry the Message project. A Carry the Message gift certificate is $36, where you are actually donating a print magazine subscription to someone. You don't know who. Once your purchase is complete, the order confirmation will be emailed to you, and the gift certificates will be forwarded to the Grapevine Customer Service Department, where they will redeem it for people who are in need.
That's cool. So, you can't make a donation, but you can buy a gift certificate, or you can buy a gift certificate for someone else anonymously.
Exactly.
Eric, thanks for calling.
And Tammy, thank you for joining us and laughing with us and indulging me with my impish ways.
Oh my gosh, what a fun ask. What an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so now the sound's off. Let's talk about your 5th step.
He's lying.
I know.
He's lying so hard.
Recording's still going. Oh my gosh.
And I'm the troublemaker. I think you need to come down on him, Tammy. He's the troublemaker.
Tammy, thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you guys. It's great.
Hi, my name's Josh T. I'm from Waterville, Maine, and I subscribe to the Grapevine app because I use my phone more than I read magazines.
You can support Grapevine by subscribing or purchasing books and other items at aagrapevine.org/store.
You can also get a digital subscription for only $2.99 a month in the app.
$3 a month? Come on.
Language of the heart.
I'm an alcoholic, and my name is Nevada. My sobriety date is February 28th, 2023. I absolutely love Alcoholics Anonymous. I believe in the program of recovery as outlined in the Big Book more than I've believed in anything in my entire life. I'll touch on how I fell in love with the Big Book. I had been out for 10 years drinking heavily, and I never really gave up prayer and meditation in that 10 years. And there was something in prayer and meditation, it was like a physical sensation telling me I needed to work the steps, All of the time and energy I was investing in trying to self-help myself sober was not working. And I, by the grace of God, found myself back into some meetings. And I didn't realize it then, but I can now look back, and I was like a mad person going to meetings in 5 different districts looking for people working the steps. I am a returner. So I was out for 10 years drinking. I had had some recovery before. I'd been through the steps. I knew what I was looking for, that you can tell the difference between somebody who's working a program and somebody who's attending a program. Attending meetings in 5 different districts, couldn't really find people working the steps, and on a Friday night, I walked into a Big Book step study meeting not far from my home, and within a couple minutes of the meeting starting, I had this twinkly feeling in my gut, like, this is what you're looking for, and then immediately following, it was like, oh great, now I gotta do the work. So my journey started in that moment. The way that my sponsorship line goes through the steps is we have an option to do a group session. We call them third steps. They take 4 to 5 hours. We go through the book, we underline an asterisk, and get some commentary on the history of AA, why we do it this way, kind of go from there. So when you're done with that 4 to 5 hours, you are prepared and ready to start your 4th step. My 4th step took me 9 months to write. We beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. It was my very favorite part of that process is that hour after completing my 5th step. My 5th step took 2 sessions of 4.5 hours each. So when I went home after that 2nd session and I sat with myself for that hour, it was, it makes me emotional when I talk about it, when I think about it. But it's the best way for me to describe it, it was like I had like pus oozing out of every porifice of my body. And it was in that moment that I could visually see that there was no evidence that God had ever left me. And I had no reason to believe that God would ever leave me from that moment forward. And it's by the grace of God that Alcoholics Anonymous gives me the freedom to choose my own conception of God. I have a non-traditional understanding of God, I happen to be okay with the word. If I didn't have the freedom to choose my own conception, I don't think I would be alive if Alcoholics Anonymous didn't give me that freedom.
I'm at the very wit's end. Cuckoo.
An AA who had just spent time with his family for the holiday was back at his home group. He shared that a relative told him she liked him better when he was drinking. He replied,
"Yeah, I liked you better when I was drinking, too."
It's really not that funny.
Thank you for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for Alcoholics Anonymous as a whole, but we do share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about Alcoholics Anonymous, visit aa.org or search Alcoholics Anonymous in your city.